Recorded live, Dave Thornberry's apartment, April 13th, 1981.
So, Dave, this is your apartment, eh?
Yes, Dan, this is my apartment. How do you like it?
It's pretty nice, Dave. Let me ask you a few questions about your personal life.
Just don't get too personal.
Well, all right.
Welcome to the Hog Wild Machine for Hunter Thompson. Just a little, just ease your awareness toward the edge. See the blue, the flowing green, you're on the Hog Wild Machine. Scream your dream as you fall toward your destiny. And NUI, the god of boredom, looks your way. He'll yawningly influence the scenes you'll play. As you turn mean, you've fallen under. Your mind's aboard. No one's in control of the Hog Wild Machine. Go fish. Like, it's only great, like, if it makes you, like, respond, if, like, you're really happy with it. Because, like, living for something great don't mean nothing, because when you die, nobody knows anyway.
That you experienced that great.
Yeah, it's like you're locked in your head.
Yeah.
Even if you write it down, they weren't there, and they don't know. They weren't there. No, like...
Yeah, the thing about it is, like, you know, all these artists go through these different experiences, and then you appreciate it, but it was never to anyone else.
Wait a minute.
It's moving.
Okay, but that's not what I'm interested in. I was just reading this.
No.
No, wait, yeah, but like... Okay, like, remember the guy that put those sheets across the top of the hill? Okay? When he did that, like, it was called running line or something. When he did it, like, it was really beautiful and everything to look at, but, like, you could only look at experience it once, you know, and, like, you didn't understand. Because, like, to him, it was just so intense, you know what I mean? And, like, you don't know what he meant, and when he's dead, nobody will know or care or feel it or nothing. It's really terrible. Mm-hmm. So, like, you might as well just, like, get into it while it's here, you know? If this makes you happy, it's great, man. And if everything's great, maybe everything is.
Well, it's just like, you seem like you wade through so much crap because you got turned on by the Beatles or something, and then you're like into, like we are, into art, and you always want to know, reading about what different people do. You wade for so much stuff that is kind of mediocre, but you just pick up on little things. Oh, they did this good. Oh, they did this all right. Well, I don't like this. Well, they did this all right, you know. And it's just like, it's not... You're not affected as emotionally as you were with other things. You're looking at it as how they did it technically and stuff. It's not like...
You mean after a while, or like right?
Yeah, it's like, your first reaction is, what a great line!
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Okay.
instead of like, oh, yeah, sometimes I feel that way too. What a great line! What a great idea for a movie! You know, nothing's real anymore. What a great idea for music! You know, nothing's real anymore. You know, it's not like, oh, what a, It's like,
and then you get to the point where you want it, like, it's so great and everything, like, but you know you can't copy it, because you just be copying it, and so you just, like, start saying, yeah, it's great, and then, like, you lose it. Like, it doesn't make any sense, because, like, after a while, it's not great anymore.
Then you're looking at it with a magnifying glass, and then you start to hate it.
Like this. Like this. Like, oh, it's just so intense and great. But, like, that's why I look at how he painted it.
You look up to it.
Like, I keep looking at it every day and looking at how he painted it, and, like, I'm ready to just eat it. Like, tear it off the wall and eat it. 'Cause I'm so tired of, like, looking at how he painted it. Not I'm tired of looking at it. Like, I'm starting to see, like, how he painted it and how really stupid it is.
Yeah, I used to do that with Jack Kirby. I loved him so much. I would like, look, this is serious. I'm looking at it with a magnifying glass. And I remember thinking to myself, well, look at this, it's just two lines right next to each other. I could have done that. Oh, this is nothing. It's just a bunch of lines up together to make the whole picture. Well, all right, maybe you look at it the first time, it looks all right. But look up and I'm close. Really, and I'd do that. And then we start to hate Bob Dylan. Why? Why do you hate him? Because you're not him. You're Dan Johnston, you're sitting at your basement with the piano.
That's right.
And you're going, I know those chords!
But I didn't do them, you know?
I didn't do it, I hate him! And you start to hate him, and then you listen to it, well, it wasn't really that good.
Like that.
Talking about how
That's true. Like we were just talking about Springsteen here. It's really good, but, like, he's there and we're here. Like, I did that drawing last night, and I loved it when I was doing it. I worked on it all the damn evening. I was really getting into it. And then like Kathy said, that's really good, and I said, it's a piece of shit, and I put it up there.
That's the thing I don't really have experience with. Yeah.
I do in a way. Like I love the stuff. I know it's technically dynamite, but like I just can't get it to come together sometimes.
Like,
It's just a piece of shit.
well, they're really great guys, you know. I mean, they got the time, and they just...
Yeah, they don't have to go to work and school.
And they spend their whole day and just get lost in it.
That's right. And it's their whole life, and they live that atmosphere, like Jim Dine, he's always living that atmosphere. I'm in New York, and I'm an artist, and I have to go to the studio. Like, you know, maybe we'll be lucky if we get 5 minutes of that atmosphere a day. It's like we don't have anything to, like, feed us, you know? We just starve to death.
Yeah, and it's like, you know how people, like, I mean, people from school, and, like, they always go,
So depressing.
say, hi, Dan. You're not, you know, it's like, what are you doing now? Or, I saw a cartoon on TV and I looked for your name in the credits and say something like that, you know? Say, oh, what are you doing, you know? Hey, you know, where are you? You know, like expect I'm doing something real big or something?
I get that all the time.
And then I always say, I know a guy from Marvel Comics. I say this every time I see someone with glasses. Yeah, I met this guy from Marvel Comics and he says that he looks like my stuff and he says it's right. Well, you know, and I kind of fade off.
It's depressing, because I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at work all the time, and guys are like telling me, I've heard you say a Marvel Comics thing, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like these guys, like I'll draw a picture, you know, and I'll give it to them, and they'll say, well, if I could draw like that, I sure wouldn't be knocking around these parking lots and stuff. And like I think, yeah, you're right.
I kind of like it, you know.
It's too depressing.
I don't want to be famous.
I just want to be happy.
Happiness is fame.
Happiness is reality to the 10th degree.
Acceptance of... What's it matter?
It's limitations without end. It's really heavy.
I mean...
Happiness is too bizarre.
Happiness is...
Wading through all the bizarrities.
Charles
Schultz, yeah, but he's too... That's too pop. He's just too bland. I mean, he's great, but he's just bland. He's accepted so much he's been absorbed. You know, he doesn't even come to the surface anymore. He's just there. It's just too sad to be true.
But you know, like how people I mean, you start your life out as an artist, and that's how they judge how you are. What have you done lately?
Yeah. How much money have you made lately?
Yeah. What's this? Have you done any drawings lately? You know, it's like, I'm not allowed if I don't draw or something, or I'm not worthy of living. People get mad at you. People get mad at you.
But yeah, like my aunt all the time, she's always on me. Like, what are you still doing in Lowell? There used to be this friend of mine, he moved to Texas, Steve McGee, he used to yell at me all the time. Why don't you leave? See, you got talent, huh? It's like, I'm living my whole talent, like my whole life is my talent. Everything I do, everything I am, is like my talent being issued forth. Not like me sitting down and doing a drawing. That's just part of it, but like they don't seem to understand like a life, just waking up in the morning is like what you are, and this is me, you know, this is my whole talent, alive.
Yeah, I mean, but
I used
to think that like doing what I talk about my series here, doing what I did kind of justified me being
Gerald, this
alive.
is true.
You know,
No, man, that's all wrong.
I know it's a wrong attitude.
Thank God you know that, because you have every right to be alive, no matter if you don't do anything. If you just sit on a park bench for 65 years and then die, drop dead, and they take you away in a garbage can, you had every right to sit there and do that.
So if I can't do it, keep it.
No, that's not true at all. See what I mean? It's not true at all. You ever seen a flower in its keep? Consider the lilies of the field. See what I mean? They don't do anything. They don't reap or sow and all that stuff.
But
they don't earn their keep, man, and they got a right to be here too.
I always wanted to be the Beatles.
All four of them want.
I mean, be the Beatles.
I mean, to be like that, to have that rocket ship of success, like, and be on it.
I mean, to be not just...
Because they're not all that creative. Not really. I've seen people that are a million times more creative than I think the Beatles ever were. A lot of the White Album is just bullshit. It's just cheap mysticism, two-dimensional mystery.
In John Lennon's song, They made it work. They made their creativity work for them.
Well, that's a lot of people have done that though. Okay, you know that woman that draws the little kids with the big eyes, and like you know what I mean? They made their creativity work for them. I know, it's terrible.
The Beatles made it work successfully.
Yeah, well, so did she.
It's
It's no justification of.
What, you think they're overrated or something?
Yeah, it's no justification of greatness just because you made your creativity work. The guy that designs his religious calendar arts, those real cheap Jesuses and stuff, they made their creativity work for them.
The Beatles made it work creatively, arty, revolutionary.
You mean not financially so much as creativity?
Yeah, it was
Creatively.
artistically great.
Okay, well, I see what you mean there. But I still think they're overrated. I mean, a lot of stuff's just...
Anybody's overrated. I mean, like Bob Dylan, you know, I mean, okay, say he wrote a song, and like 1 million people don't hear this song. It's an alright song, you know, it's alright. Took him a few hours to write it, right? But millions and billions of people hear this song, and it's an alright song, so you're going to like it because it's alright. Right away, it's overrated, because it's just a little song. Millions and billions of people love it.
You mean just like but the fact that it exists at all overrates it immediately.
That it's on a record.
Just because it's Dylan.
That it's anything.
I mean, just because it's somebody famous.
Yeah, it's like, you know, people going on and on about Picasso and his bicycle seat with the steering wheel
Yeah,
and
the horns and all or whatever.
This shows Picasso's enormous creativity. Vastly overrated. No one else could think of it. You know, everyone's overrated, but then when you blow away all the overrating, you know, it was an alright idea.
Yeah, that's, of course.
But you know what blows it away is that a lot of people think it's an alright idea. And so, like, when they meet each other, yeah, Picasso's bullhead. Picasso's bullhead. And the next time, Picasso's bullhead, it was a pretty good idea. I thought it was a pretty good idea. Next time, well, Picasso's bullhead. You know, overrated, just overrated.
It's like, hey,
and here it is, 3 million people all across the talking about it, and here in Picasso, you know. Yeah, I did that. Picasso's bullhead on fire.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like an average Joe. But see, okay, a lot of stuff, especially artworks, especially art, it doesn't even exist as an art piece until its impact. Like its impact is part of what if it's being created. Like you do a painting, right? And okay, it's a painting and it's great and you see it and everything, but like it's invisible, really, to the world unless you like a lot of people see it, and when they start seeing it, then it becomes visible.
Yeah, because it has its own life.
Yeah, and like and what it like it's throwing a rock in water. Like the rock in the water is your painting, and then the ripples are the rest of the painting, like what it makes people feel and what it makes people do.
Yeah, really.
The impact is like part of its life.
Like,
so really anything that's overrated.
When you work on something and then you're done and you're over, and you put the work into it, and then other people take it, and then they start putting their own ideas into it, and then it's like if you had to go back and do it then, if those people were there while you worked on it, there's no way. If you had thought that they would have taken it this way, or they would have liked it, there was no way you could have done it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so like that's why I believe critics and people who like, people who hate, and creative people are two separate things, and don't get along and shouldn't be around each other. I mean, a critic that, like, you know, Bob Dylan, could you imagine a critic being there while he's writing? Well, that's just like one of your earlier albums. Okay, now use the phrase there, or the next word. You know, critics and there are critics and creative people. There are critics, somebody that you're going to work with, and every time you put on something, they go, well, all right, yeah, but now what are you doing here? You know, and there's other people that, you know,
but
they're not even thinking about, you know, it's just kind of like, you know, or not really haphazardly, but critics are really negative as far as I can see. More negative, even though they may love something. It's a negative attitude.
That they're there at all.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even exist, except for the fact, I mean, like, it's like, not that they shouldn't even exist, but like, it's like a bad idea. It's like, it feels funny that they exist, because like, well, okay, but look at it this way too, though. Just say, like, every time you did create, there was a critic right there, like, you know, saying, well, you did that before, and that's not too good. Think of how original and creative and good you'd be in like about a month. At least this guy'd always be just sharpening it down, like you'd be almost nuts from him.
No, I think it'd be good.
You think he'd be a repressive force, or like I think he'd be a growth force myself? Because like you'd want to say, all right, you bastard, and then you do this, like, you know, and like he'd say, oh no, you did that, and he'd say, all right, then you do this, and it'd be great. And pretty soon he'd just like, wow.
That's somebody that's not. I don't want to like. I'm not talking like yes men. Like I'd rather have.
No,
yes
no,
men.
no.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Oh wow. You know, wow. Yeah, it's just like.
I've seen those before.
Just
too.
ask people that are with you, like, you know, we'll talk about what you're doing for the moment, and, as it what it is. You know, every time you see any kind of artist, and they're always saying, well, I did that before, but what I'm doing now is, you know, because it really is like you have to drag around.
No, you're not lost. What you're saying is, this whole point is that like critics, like you were talking about. Okay, what started this was like the White Album, Abbey Road, the Beatles. Okay, like if they'd have been criticized the whole time, they wouldn't have come up with a lot of their stuff. Think about that, and then you will realize they're overrated.
Well, everyone's overrated, like I said.
Yeah, but I mean, okay.
Take away all that and start again. It's good music.
Okay, you mean like, okay, here's what I think. Here's how I feel about that. It's like you like something real well. You know it real well and you love it, right? And so you like it up to the point of almost where you almost worship it. And then you say, oh, it's not so good and it's not so good. And when you arrive at that point, when you blow away all the overrating, you know, and you come back to the point where, oh, well, you know, I kind of hate it. There's where the real art, the real creation is right there. And that's what the piece really is. Like you cover it with all this like glitter and gold of just absolute idolatry or whatever. And then you blow all that away and you get back to the real thing. Like, hey, here's what it really is. And it's just a good tune or it's a good artwork. And some things are better at that last point than the other things. And some of them are really good. They deserve the gold and the worship, and like they're classics.
The things that last, classics, things that last.
Some of them aren't. Yeah, okay, I'm saying they're really good, but I think there's a lot more intense people that really deserve.
Oh, well, there's a lot other people. There are a lot of other, and they're not the Beatles, and the Beatles aren't them. You understand what I mean?
You mean like you're saying you can't compare anybody to anything? You can never make a true comparison?
That's why critics are hard. You know,
because they compare.
Yeah, they compare.
Unless you compare it to yourself, and even then it doesn't count.
They think everything as, in their little books, and they know all the names of the records, and they've read all these, and they've heard all the songs, and yet they can't write a freaking song. They sit around and wait for somebody else to put a song so they can talk about it.
Well, do you mean it's justified then if another songwriter criticizes a song?
I don't think they waste their time criticizing.
But if they did, would it be justified then?
Well, I could like Elvis Costello making fun of Barry Manilow, but I'm sure he doesn't spend most of his time.
Did he make fun of Barry Manilow?
No, there's like different people.
But if he did?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Like, I heard he buys all these albums because he hates them so much. He just likes to listen to them and tell his friends why he hates them, because why they're so. This is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid, this is why.
Sounds like he's really got like a real anger thing.
Oh, he's great. I can see him like working 24 hours, like he's writing a song a day, working all the time, listening. You know, just like Picasso, just totally enthralled him. Little crazy art man. You know, like working all the time.
A little existence, like a little being of art, just running around. But then again, you gotta understand that, like, a lot of criticism. Anyway, a lot of criticism is.
I like people that care not to criticize.
Okay, criticism is only deserved. It's only useful. It only really means anything if the person that creates knowing they're gonna almost practically for the critic. A lot of people do that, like playwrights, Broadway playwrights. They love it. They create just so they can please a critic. Like, but a lot of people don't care, which is beautiful. Like Jim Dine, he just does something and he stands back from it and he likes it. Hey, that's great. And he walks away, and if a critic comes up and spits on it, he doesn't care because he likes it. You know, that's the guys that's like true art, because you love it, and if anybody else likes it, great. You know, then it becomes a wider piece of art. Like it's more influence. Its ripples go out further. But like if nobody else likes it, then its ripples only go a little way, just as far as you're concerned, and it's still there. You see what I mean? So like critics are okay if you want them to criticize, but if you don't really care what they say, then they don't exist at all, really. Like they're just a cheap shadow.
What I mean is, not saying what I'm saying, that it's not really, art isn't really as important.
But it is. I mean, okay.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, I don't have a problem with that. But,
What's that?
that's
Don't hear this. What are you doing that for?
like, you say, like, it's important and everything, right? Art is important.
Define art before you go any further.
Art. A good excuse to waste time.
Come on, we've heard that one. I saw that in the paper. Come on.
Art. A thing that is great and a lot of people and they get into it and it's important to them what artists say and how things are expressed. They like to hear it so they can feel it for themselves. Or they can help them
Okay.
feel
I can accept that. No, you, I
or
can
like
accept that.
have theme music for their life. But is art really that important? What I'm talking about personally is that I'm crazy. And a lot of artists are going crazy. But that it's not like it's getting ready to drip out my nose while I'm sitting here talking and everything. Not serious. But there's sensitive. There's people that are like sensitive and like and then when you're in the sensitive, then you have the whole world. There's all these little things to care about. All the dolphins, the orphans, the starving children, all these little things. You know, art and what one vulgar line in some song to get upset about and write somebody about. This is the area of sensitive, and you have all these little things to care about. And I just tell you, lately, I just really think about, I don't really care about a lot of those things.
And that bothers
I see
you?
that sensitivity. Yeah, I just see the, I said, oh, well, that's, she's caring about that. Or somebody said something. That's probably caring about that. That they would get mad about something like that.
You
Like the
misunderstood
president getting
sensitivity.
shot.
You don't understand.
Like the president getting shot. And I said, well, I'm not going to be sensitive.
You cared a lot, though. You called and told me.
Well, I just wanted to share that historic moment with you.
Well, as soon as he was all right, I didn't care anymore either. I mean, except for the fact that it was a historical thing that happened, and like, I'm glad I lived it. But, like, it wasn't that much afterwards. Because I think history's priceless. Like, I think this whole thing's an adventure, and, like, every little thing that goes into the history books is, like, another chapter.
I feel that way.
It's great. Yeah,
I feel more excited.
you don't realize the value of, like, what's happening every day? Like a little kid drops a beer can and kicks it, and it's like, that's just infinitely valuable. Yeah, because it didn't exist before. Everything that happens is the word valuable doesn't even apply anymore.
Well, all right, Dave, I'm telling you one thing. All right, I just changed your life. I really did. If I hadn't have done that, now, Dave, I don't know what's going to happen to you. You might really make it big. You might really make it small. You might die in a gutter somewhere.
I know.
You might grow to be very rich or grow to be very old. Or marry like a very young girl. A lot of people would be ashamed. Or you might become psychopathic murder. And all because of whatever it is. Because I hit your foot.
I know.
I'm sorry. But maybe you'll be thankful.
See why you can't be so sensitive? First of all, you misinterpreted sensitivity.
I just can't.
Sensitivity isn't care so much as it's reception. You understand everything you see around you, and that means you're sensitive. But if you happen to care about it, that's a whole different matter. That's empathy or something. But if
maybe you're right.
If you just receive it, that's sensitivity. Like if you understand, if somebody makes a really subtle joke, and you understand it, then you're sensitive. If you think it's funny or not, it's a whole different story. But you understood it. That's sensitivity.
Well, thank you, David, for this.
And good night.
This is an evening with David Thornberry.
Wait, this is the Dan and Dave show.
The Dan and Dave show, brought to you by the Quaker Oats Company.
And Orlando's Pizza.
And Orlando's Pizza. And now this final word from Dave Thornberry as Dan is ready to go home and get chewed out by his parents. We'll have that recorded also. I've recorded them before.
I like your recorder when you get through that, by the way.
Alright, and here's Dave. Signing off.
I'd just like to tell Dan I wish he'd hurry up and get out from under you know who's, you know what.
Thanks.
See you and good night.